Hello, in this video we're going to be going over how to find the slope between 2 points. But first, let's define what slope is. Slope is how steep a line is. It's also defined as the ratio of rise over run, or the change in vertical distance over the change in horizontal distance. Most of the time, slope is defined as the letter m. It's also defined as the change in y over the change in x. So for this equation, y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1, that's how you find the slope between these 2 points, x1, comma, y1, and x2, comma, y2. Now, let's go over some practice problems. We are looking to find the slope of this line. As you can see, we're not explicitly given our points, so we have to find them ourselves. Now, we can pick any 2 points we want from this line, but it's technically easier to pick something where it hits the coordinate exactly. So in this case, we'll do this, and we'll do 1 point as 1, comma 1. And we'll also look at this point right here, which is going to be 2, comma 3. Let's make this one x1, y1, and x2, y2. So now let's find the slope. The slope is going to be y2 minus y1 divided by x2 minus x1, which is going to be 3 minus 1 divided by 2 minus 1, which is going to give us 2 divided by 1, which is 2. In this case, we decided to have 1, 1 be our first point, but actually you can choose any order of the points, right? So let's pretend this is x1 now, y1. This one's x2, y2. And just find the slope this way as well. y2 minus y1 divided by x2 minus x1, which is going to give us 1 minus 3 divided by 1 minus 2, which is going to be negative 2 divided by negative 1. And because there's 2 negatives here, they cancel out and we still get our 2. So, as you can see, it doesn't matter which point you make x1, y1, and which point you make x2, y2. However, it is important that you make sure you subtract it in the same order. For example, if this is your first x, this needs to be your first y, and so on. Now, let's work on this question. First, we have to find 2 points like last time. We can do this point right here, make negative 2, comma 5, and this point, which is 3, comma 0. And we can make any of these points the first point. So we'll just make this one the first point, and this one the second point. So our slope formula is going to be y2 minus y1 divided by x2 minus x1. Where our y2 value is 5 and our y1 value is 0, divided by x2, which is negative 2, and minus x1, which is going to be 3. So we have 5 divided by negative 5 equals negative 1. So our slope is negative 1. As a bonus, let's find the y-intercept. So, in this graph, the y-intercept is when x equals 0. And as you can see, it happens to be 0, comma 3. So that is our y-intercept. But let's just say that you couldn't see the y-intercept easily on the graph. Is there another way that we can find it? Yeah, we can find it using the slope-intercept form. So the slope-intercept form for a line is going to be y equals mx plus b, where m is the slope and 0, comma b is the y-intercept. In this case, we see the graph, so we know that the equation ends up being y equals negative x plus 3. However, let's try to find the y-intercept through math and the fact that we have points and a slope that we know. So y equals mx plus b. We already know that m is -1, so our line is negative x plus b. We know that y equals negative x plus b is representing this line right here. So we know that these two lines must make this equation work. So we can choose any of these 3 points to plug in our values and get b. But for fun, why don't we just do -2, 5 as our point. So we could have y as 5 and x as -2 plus b. So we have 5 equals 2 plus b. So b ends up being 3. So we know that the total line is y equals -x plus 3. Now let's do some problems where you're just given 2 points and you have to find the slope. So like we said before, we can do any order for the points, but we'll just make the first one x1, y1, the second one x2, y2. And we know the slope is going to be m equals y2 minus y1 divided by x2 minus x1. So now it's going to be 8 minus 3 divided by 5 minus -1. We get 5 divided by 6. So the slope is 5, 6. And to check our work, we can subtract it in basically the opposite order, right? For example, we'll say this one is our first point, and this one is our second point. So should give us the same answer. So y2 in this case is 3, and y1 is 8, and x2 is going to be -1, and x1 is going to be 5. So with that, we get -5 divided by -6, which is equal to 5, 6, because the two negatives here cancel out. Now, let's do this problem. We'll do the same thing. We'll make this x1, y1, x2, y2. So we have m equals y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. We get y2 is 5, y1 is 7, x2 is 10, and x1 is 2. We'll get -2 divided by 8. So our slope is going to be -1/4. We'll do the same thing again. Make this one x2, y2, make this one x1, y1. Just check our answer. We'll do it again. M equals y2 minus y1 divided by x2 minus x1. We'll get y2 is 7, y1 is 5, and x2 is 2, and x1 is 10. We get 2 divided by -8, which equals -4, which we got above, so we know that's correct. That's the last question for this video. Thank you so much for watching.